Hi, my love. Welcome to the Gemma Hanley podcast. My name is Gemma. I'm your host. This is the space where I have honest conversations about overcoming anxiety and overwhelm so that you can calm your nervous system and feel really confident and happy and calm from within yourself. Along the way, I share my own stories of holistically healing 23 years of anxiety and depression myself. And so if you're a woman seeking answers to perfectionism, people-pleasing, burnout, resistance, you may love, you're in the right place. Let's do it. Let's begin. And before we begin, I want to pay my respects and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land upon which I am recording from, which is the Gubbi Gubbi tribe. And I want to extend that acknowledgement to their elders, past, present, and emerging, as well as anybody of Indigenous or Torres Strait Islander heritage watching this replay. Hey, lady love, welcome back to the potty. I feel like this is going to be a real fun conversation. For those of you watching along online on YouTube, you will see I have a very different backdrop to my normal, very beige, very minimalist. I am house sitting for some beautiful friends of mine, and I'm about this backdrop. I really, really like it. That's to explain why things are looking a little bit different. The conversation we're going to have today is around intuitive dance. If you are on Instagram, you will see that I share a lot about this in action. Me practicing intuitive dance, it is a practice that has totally transformed my life. And really, I only began exploring probably mid-2021. So not that long ago, a little over 2 years ago. And so in this conversation, we're going to dive into what is it? What is intuitive dance and movement? Why do I do it? What are the benefits and how can you do it too? Inside Reveal and Rise, with each intake, we actually do a 14-day self-expression, emotional expression experience, which is optional. And the women have the opportunity to really be held in an energetic and held with a degree of structure and accountability around showing up to this practice for 14 days straight. And the reason that we do this is because when we do something consistently and we get to feel the benefits and we get to feel the build the evidence rather of what's possible, we then have that evidence to draw upon in the future as to why something is important or why something is valuable for us, or to answer that question of why would I bother? What's the point? I don't feel like it. Yeah. And so we're up to, at the time of recording this episode, we're up to day 13 in that experience. And so it felt like a really cool time for me to record this episode and bring it to you as well. So what is intuitive dance? What is intuitive movement? In the most simple terms, I'd call it a self-connection practice. Yeah. And we can have a whole toolkit full of self-connection practices. Other examples might be journaling, might be an inner child connection practice. It could be meditation. There's a whole range of them. And what I would say that I love most about intuitive dance is that it immediately takes us out of doer mode, out of a busy mind, yeah, and into the body, because we're allowing the body to lead us and to show us when we move into an intuitive space, right? And what that also does is it brings us into the present moment. So as opposed to being in doer mode, to-do list, achiever, tick, 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 what's next? It breaks that pattern, yeah, where we can end up feeling like we're stuck in adrenaline, we're buzzing, we're not super present. We can tell that we're churning through adrenaline energy, nervous energy. And that often comes when we're operating from this space where we don't trust ourselves to return to tasks, or we think that if we sit down and just take a few breaths or have a rest on the couch, that we're so lazy that we'll never get up again. Yeah. And it's not a sustainable way. It's not a sustainable energy source, but it's not a sustainable way to do life if happiness, joy, calm, ease, confidence, spaciousness are things that are important to us. And so when we do move into an intuitive dance practice, we get to release that and we move into trusting the body. Yeah, dropping into the body, letting it show us and becoming more present. And this has huge benefits for our nervous system, our emotional state of being, but also things like our creativity levels as well. Yeah. Now, intuitive dance also helps us to shift out of thinking and into feeling. That's another way to describe this, right? And when I say out of thinking and into feeling, I don't only mean feeling your emotions. Yeah. So that can often be what's associated when you hear someone say, oh, yeah, this is what I'm feeling, or dropping into feeling is, oh, I'm going to have to feel these painful emotions. Sometimes that will be the case, and that's an important practice as a human being. But where I'm also going with this is that thinking can be the intellectualizing, the sense making, the grasping for unobtainable certainty, the wanting to control, the needing to know why things are happening, when they're happening, how they're happening, and make sense of it, versus feeling, is asking ourselves not only how do I feel from an emotional perspective, but what actually feels right, what actually feels true, what actually feels off. Yeah, what actually feels like an aversion versus what actually feels like a pull. Yeah. So tuning into this life force that's within us as well. And so the feeling is not just emotions, it's also our intuition, it's our subconscious, and it's our inner knowing. And that is this limitless intelligence from within us that knows what is best. Yeah, knows what is right for us as an individual. So that's part of, or how I would describe what intuitive dance and what intuitive movement is. It's dropping into the body. It's a self-connection practice. It's allowing the body to show us what it knows and what it wants. Yeah. Why do I do it? So there's a couple of, more than a couple actually, but there's probably two categories of why I do it. One is to shift any states of discomfort or disconnection. Yeah. So feelings of stagnation, stuckness, energy, irritation, anxiety, fear, frustration, anger. Yeah. Grief, hurt, all of this, right? So the first category of why I would show up to an intuitive dance and movement practice is to shift painful states. Yeah, to be able to shake off and move through and come out the other side of discomfort. And then the second category would be to either express pleasure. So there's so much pleasure moving through my body and excitement moving through my body that I want to feel that, or to turn up the dial on something that's exciting, something that's important to me, maybe something I'm working towards through almost a moving visualization practice or process. Yeah. And so where this began for me, if I jump back to that first category of discomfort, where this began for me was in lockdowns in Melbourne. Yeah, where there was this feeling of just suffocation, there was a lot of stagnation and stuck energy, and frustration at the situation. And to begin with, what I realized, and I can't even tell you, I was working with a sex and feminine embodiment coach at the time, Meg, who you've heard on the podcast. This year I've worked with her as a business coach as well. And that's probably where some of this exploration came from. I was working with another feminine embodiment coach before her. And so I was hearing a lot around intuitive movement and connection with the body. And where I began to feel like stuck, stagnant energy would really shift for me. And I'd come back into what would feel like my life force or my energy that was more vibrant, was when I created movement in my hips and in my arms. And so I can still remember one of the first times I put on some music and felt incredibly awkward and allowed myself to intuitively move and dance to that. And yeah, it felt really messy. It felt really disjointed. It definitely didn't feel sexy or attractive. And that's a really big point that I want to make about this practice of intuitive dance, is that given that it's intuitive, it is not your classic definition of a performance, in terms of it being choreographed and, both sides of your body moving in the same way, or the same steps or the same movements being repeated. And it really is tuning into your body and letting it show you the way. Yeah. How does it want to move? Yeah. What direction does it want to go in? Where is there maybe pockets of tension or pain or quite literally like stuckness that you can feel, that wants to be moved, that wants to be freed, that wants to shift? And you can allow your body to do that and to go there. Yeah. And so one of the first tips that, kind of jumping all over the place here, but that's how it's going. One of the first tips that I always give women when they ask me, how do I do this practice, or how did you begin, is movement of your hips and movement of your arms. Just focus on that and just see where that takes you and see what happens. Knowing also that this practice allows you to work with resistance, right? This practice is actually perfect for resistance. And so as part of the 14-day self-expression, emotional expression experience that the women inside Reveal and Rise are doing at the moment, they're sharing at the end of each day what form did their self-expression take and what did they discover. Yeah. And one of the women shared, I read it yesterday, it felt really difficult for me to get up and for me to physically move my body, right? And so we got to have this conversation, and I got to reply to her and say, you're not actually looking to wait to feel ready, or to wait to feel motivated, or to wait to feel like this is even something that you want to do, right? So frequently I will turn on some music and begin moving my body, and it is probably right up there as one of the things I least feel like doing. But because I've practiced this enough, I know how powerful it is, and I know how rewarding it is. And so part of what I share with women is take that resistance. Yeah. And I'm saying resistance, but you can apply this to numbness. You can apply this to feeling stuck, feeling stagnant, feeling unmotivated, feeling resentful, feeling indifferent. Yeah. Feeling something that might sound like this. Ugh. Yeah. Like, I just can't be bothered. I just don't want to do that. Dance that. Yeah. And when I speak into this, I feel like I'm really sharing with you the essence of like how intuitive this practice is. Yeah. Like, what does resistance want to move like? You're not going to be able to probably intellectualize that. Yeah. Your body's going to need to show you. right? Is it that, your arms just want to flap about? Is it that your head wants to shake? Yeah. Is it that your whole body wants to shake? Do you want to jump up and down? Are you wanting to make big movements with your arms that feels like that resistance or that resentment is being flicked out the end of your fingertips? Are there noises that come with this? Yeah. What does the sound of resistance want to make right now? Right. Are you standing at the end of the bed, punching that as part of this intuitive movement practice? Right? Are there different archetypes or maybe even different animals that want to be embodied to express and release and acknowledge this resistance or frustration or irritation that is here, that you're tired of feeling and you're tired of carrying around with you all damn day? Yeah. So the message in this that I'm sharing is, don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait to feel inspired to intuitively dance, right? Don't wait until you somehow magically become a beautiful, articulate dancer. Just start moving, right? Let your body lead you. Trust your body. Drop into your body. Yeah. One of the other big reasons why I love this practice is that often when we can acknowledge, okay, I'm feeling fucking angry. I'm feeling fired up right now, or I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm feeling sad. I can tell I'm feeling sad and I can tell there's a cry in here, but it's just feeling so stuck and I want to move it, but I don't know how to get that started, right? The idea of going from this place of, okay, I can acknowledge I'm not feeling happy right now. I can acknowledge there's some difficult, uncomfortable emotions in my being, within my being experienced. The idea of then like, okay, well, how do I just start feeling this so that I can recognize it, I can participate with it, and I can understand it so that I can move through it and come out the other side of it? That can feel like a really big ask at times, and that can feel like too big of a step. Yeah. And as a flow on effect from that, often we can just put it in the too hard basket. Like, I don't know how to get there. I don't know how to get in there. How long is that going to take? Am I even going to feel better for it? Am I going to feel more frustrated because I don't know what I'm doing and I'm not getting to where I want to go and the emotion hasn't released? So valid, my love. And that is why I love, love, love this practice, because it's also this beautiful bridge from where you are right now, gradually. And it still blows my mind, when I say gradual, like it's so subtle and it's so smooth and there's so much ease to it. But the gradual nature of it too can be quite quick. Yeah. Like I can feel my whole emotional state of being shift within 5, 15, 30 minutes sometimes. Yeah. Definitely within 30 minutes, but sometimes it only takes 5 minutes. And so we get to use this practice as a really loving tool and a bridge to go from where we are, maybe that busy mind, that wired adrenaline, go, 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 do, nothing's ever enough. I'm exhausted. I'm chasing my tail. I feel like I'm getting nowhere state. Yeah. Over to, okay, I'm back in my body. I can feel this sense of aliveness within me. I can feel this sense of calm and groundedness and contentment and stability within me, right? And so that's a really beautiful part of this practice. And the more often we practice and the more familiar that we become, other benefits that, and this is why I intuitively dance almost every single day, is that creativity just skyrockets. Yeah. Vibrancy and vitality and energy and engagement with life and just like spark and inspiration and joy and this feeling of overall aliveness increases. Yeah. There is a level of freedom and playfulness and carefree that we can reach when we've moved through and allowed ourselves to, go big in the resistance, in expressing that, go big in the anger of dancing that, going big in the sadness of, maybe curling up in a ball and rolling around the floor, or wrapping ourselves in a hug and just swaying. Yeah. When we move through that and allow ourselves to go there and really turn up the volume on that so that it's honored and it's respected, that is actually true, of a true part of how we're feeling, then we get to move through it and experience some of these other benefits as well. So to summarize why I do it: 1, to shift discomfort; 2, to access and turn up pleasure, right? And so I actually have multiple guided rituals around this inside all 3 of my programs. So my self-paced short course, responding to overwhelm, fear, and anxiety, they're inside Reveal and Rise, and they're inside my one-to-one coaching program as well. But I also just want to give you some tips on how you can literally get started today. I'm going to pop some playlists in the show notes that you can use, which have become some hot favorites of women that have used these in the past and continue to do so. And I also just want to, before I move into that, I just want to speak to the visualization, like the moving visualization component. So if you're working on a goal, or if you are really excited about some vision that you're bringing to life, a really cool way to work with this is to think about, how will I know when I've accomplished that? Yeah, how will I know when I've brought that to life? What will be present? What will I be seeing? What will I be hearing? What will I be feeling? What are 1 or 2 words that encapsulate what I will be feeling in my body? Is it pride? Is it overwhelming joy? Yeah. Is it overflowing excitement? Yeah. And take that into the dance practice. And I love doing intuitive dance of all varieties, whether it's discomfort or pleasure, with my eyes shut at times as well. And imagine yourself in those states. Imagine those things happening, what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what you're hearing, to know that that vision has reached completion. You've achieved it. And your state of being is humming and vibrating at the frequency of pride or joy or elation. Yeah. Whatever that might be. And so that's a really, really fun one to play with as well. And here's a little tip on that. If when you're doing that, you feel yourself facing into, but, what about this part? I'm doubting this bit a little bit. I'm not so sure about this. That is gold, my love. Yeah. Rather than, what I see, unfortunately, a lot of the coaching industry do, which I would fit into that category of like toxic positivity and bypassing and very shallow emotional work. I'm not even going to call it emotional healing. Emotional work is almost like bulldozing over the top of that. Yeah. So when a self-doubt or a fear or an insecurity comes up, it's like, no, just keep focusing on what you want. Push that down, flick that away. That can't be part of this process. That's not allowed. right? When in actual fact, those moments are so rich. Those moments are gold because they're showing you exactly what needs to be felt, exactly what conversation might need to be had with your inner child who's feeling really scared and really uncomfortable about this new direction or this new trajectory you're going in because she hasn't done it before. And her programming for how she knows to feel safe is rooted in we need to be perfect. We need to please everybody. Yeah. Everything needs to look good. We can't ruffle any feathers. We can't be seen as failing or we'll be rejected. And then we're going to lose love and connection. And then we're going to be alone forever. Right? That is literally what is playing out in the nervous system and at a subconscious level when we go after our dreams and our goals, when we go to that new level, when we're expanding. And so that needs to be met, right? I still meet these parts with myself, and it's so deeply healing. And so the point I'm making here is if you are doing these moving visualizations, allow any resistance, any fear, any question marks to be shown to you, so that you can actually work with that. Yeah. Create self-understanding and self-nurturing around that. Come from a place of love and compassion so that that piece gets to integrate and come on board. Yeah. You can invite your inner child to walk alongside you hand in hand and share with her, you're going to protect her and you're going to be there with her every step of the way. Yeah. And that your love and your connection and your ability to listen to her and feel with her isn't going anywhere. That's always going to be there, right? It's so easy, and I see it so commonly that when a woman is, on a roll and she's feeling really confident, she's feeling really clear, she's feeling really certain about where she's going and things are falling into place. And then, a piece of self-doubt arises or a piece of fear arises. And all of a sudden they feel like everything's going off the rails, or it was feeling so good when everything was in motion and the momentum that they wanted, that they scramble and just try to focus on getting back to that, when actually we're shown these pieces so we can have even more of what it is that we want when we love them, when we understand them, and when we integrate them. And so I feel like this conversation is really building out in a way that is showing you how much depth is in what can look like such a basic practice, being intuitive dance and intuitive movement, right? And it's so gentle, it's so subtle, and it's beautifully intimate with yourself as well. All right, to finish this up, I'm going to walk you through quickly how you can begin practicing intuitive dance, intuitive movement, so that you can spend less time stuck in your head, less time carrying around painful emotions and physical symptoms as well. They are also manifested by the body when we are disconnected from ourselves, when there's something important for us to listen to pay loving attention to, and we're distracting, avoiding, running away from it, right? So how you can spend less time in that space, carrying all of that very heavy load around with you all day, and move more into states of creativity, states of flow, states of joy, states of a clear mind. Yeah, easy access to what do I want? What choice do I need to make? What feels good for me? What feels right for me? What can I let go of? What do I want to release myself from? So, step number 1 is I want to invite you into this as a daily practice, and it can look like one song to begin with. It doesn't need to be really lengthy. Yeah, but can you give yourself permission to let your body lead you? And the permission piece for some of you here, my love, it might be, I'm going to give myself permission to feel awkward. I'm going to give myself permission to not know what the fuck I'm doing. Yeah. I'm going to give myself permission to be a beginner at this, a learner at this. I'm going to give myself permission to be really average at this because I've never done it before and I'm learning, right? So one song, create a safe space, right? Like if you're feeling self-conscious and then somebody maybe walks in on you and that startles you and that brings up emotions or stories for you, that's going to feel more challenging, right? And so a beautiful place to actually begin can be the shower, right? Or just pick a space, pick a room with a lock on the door, pick a time when nobody's home, or communicate in your relationships, whether it's with your partner, with your family, with your housemates, and let them know, hey, I'm just going to have some alone time, or hey, I'm just going to meditate. Right? Do what you need to do to create a space where it feels private and it feels safe for you to express. Next is let your body lead you, right? And a beautiful way to do this can actually be to start on the floor, right? And just start with like some cat and cow movements, either seated, yeah, and just doing it with the top of your body like this, if you're watching the YouTube. Or, traditional cat and cow on all fours, maybe rolling around the floor, and just begin with, moving your hips a little bit, playing with your hips, moving your arms. Yeah. Playing with that, seeing what happens, and just let it happen. Yeah. Not needing it to look a certain way. Remember, if there's embarrassment, if there's resistance, if there's fear, if there's shame, purely being activated because this feels like a really vulnerable and exposing practice, bring that. Move embarrassment, sound embarrassment. Yeah. Move resistance. Yeah. Move as fear. How does fear move? Yeah. Does it shake? Yeah. Does it flap about? This can be like, sometimes I will end up laughing at myself because it just feels so weird and like it's very childlike as well. Yeah. If you look at children, when they're expressing, they don't really care what they look like because they haven't even learnt that, that's a thing. Right? And so can you let yourself go into more of that playful, carefree, childlike energy? Yeah. And then I'm also going to put some playlists in the show notes so that you can use those if you want to. And if you don't already follow me on Instagram, pop over and have a look as well. I've recorded some reels that have intuitive movement and dance, but often I'm sharing it on my stories too. And I would love for you to come across and chat with me in the DMs about how you're finding it as you build your confidence. And if you want to share that as part of your expression as well, tag me so that I can see that and I can love on you as well. Thank you for being here for this conversation, my love. If you would like more free resources, if you'd like to learn about my programs or coaching opportunities, you can find all of that information at my website, gemmahanley.com. I'll link it below in the show notes. And if you would like to connect daily, head over and find me on Instagram. My handle there is Gemma E. Hanley, and I reply to all of my DMs there personally. If you enjoyed this episode and found it valuable, please share it with someone. You never know who needs to hear one little thing to take their day from feeling stuck and heavy to light and free. See you on the next one.